it's really just a human's, like a lay person's way to do bodybuilding workouts.
Is it more fun than doing it in a regular gym by
Yeah,
yourself?
it's an hour class. We do 4 stations, 5 minutes per station twice, and you're doing like mini supersets of like we call vanity muscles, abs and legs, and right.
That's why most people are in the gym.
So that's our build program. Our boost program is our way to steal market share from Barry's and SoulCycle. Completely unweighted. We've got you on assault runners, the ski erg.
How many do you have?
5.
5 runners, 5.
5 runners, 5 ski ergs, 5 assault bikes, and then we have a bunch of rowers.
And did you outfit the place before you had the membership, knowing that this would get the membership, or was it like?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm always really push the cart and hope we can find horses along the way.
Okay, so there's the build,
Boost, and we just launched boxing,
okay.
and that's because Pat and Dylan have been crushing their PT business with boxing, and people love it. We don't do any CrossFit on Wednesdays, so the big thing for us was I got tired of people jamming shit into a CrossFit program.
Right.
So like I hate conditioning Thursdays and strongman Fridays. I like 21-15-9 workouts, and I like CrossFit. So when we separated our program out, we don't do Wendlers and we don't do strength cycles. We do CrossFit Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Right? Wednesday we did build and boost only, and then we have build and boost throughout the week. Sunday's always no barbell partner workouts.
Right.
It's just a fun day, right? But Wednesdays we just couldn't figure out the right way to do it. No one ever went to our build class, and everyone took boost. So then we did some like specialty. We did like an Oli, we did a powerlifting, and like it just wasn't working. So as we've played around with different concepts, Pat and Dylan spent a lot of time building out a boxing class that can work for 20 people, and like me and you can work together and get a really good workout, and it's been a huge success so far.
Okay.
We do 70 people a day on Wednesdays in boxing, which is like,
And what's membership?
we're at like 240.
Price?
Oh no, 155. Everything. I don't care how long you want to be here. We got rid of everything.
Your membership is 155 period for CrossFit
Period.
for money. For
No,
whatever.
our only
don't know.
premium is if you are lazy and you want to be told what classes to take, it's $360 a month.
What happens there?
So on Sundays, I don't do workout of the day. I don't do any of that. Every Sunday, all our members get the entire week program, all classes, and they can make their own blueprint. That's the whole, right? So for $360 a month, Lou, myself, Pat, whoever you want to work with, will pick your classes for you based around the things you want to accomplish. You want to
So
lose
they'll say you need to be in 3 build classes, 1 CrossFit class, and 2 boosts.
100%, and then we highlight that for you. We do a little bit of nutritional stuff. You get like 1 personal training session a month with that, and we give you some side work.
So 360 is literally just you should come at 4 o'clock on Tuesday. Like that's it.
I think it's 340 actually.
But whatever.
Yeah, but-
it's not like, hey, here's your program. Here you're like, and then go take these classes on top. It is literally there are 5 days a week you need to come. I'm gonna make 20 choices for you a month, and you're done.
Yeah, and like we didn't expect to have 100 of those, but I knew as we scaled, 15 of those outweighed our below market price point, and like
How many of those do you have?
I think right now we have 12 or 13. It's nice, right? And the outcomes that people are getting are really successful, which means it works.
Well, there's also something to it that is not necessarily understood by the person buying it when they buy it, which is the accountability of, I just paid Lou to tell me what classes to come to, and he told me to come to these. What the fuck am I paying for if I don't come to these classes? And Lou's gonna be like, what the fuck are you paying for if you don't come to these classes?
So
That's cool. Yeah. Literally $200 worth of accountability.
that's it. Yes. And like 38-year-old professionals with kids, they don't need 5 PT sessions a week to get better. They just need to know that someone's going to hold them accountable to what they're doing.
My thought on PT is it's a great business booster, and it's also a really valuable thing for somebody to have from a skill acquisition and confidence acquisition perspective. Once you have the confidence and the skill, unless you're doing something like boxing and mitt training and things like that, the program does the job. you shouldn't need the one-on-one coach unless it's an accountability
Yeah,
situation.
I see a lot of gym owners talk about like they require PT business, like
start.
the morph of what an on-ramp was. I completely disagree with it.
What do you do to start? Just jump in?
So, because our CrossFit program isn't jammed with a really quick warm-up and then a long strength and then a long Metcon and try to squeeze in a warm-up, we spend half our class teaching. Oh, you want more? Go take Boost. Oh, you want to get stronger? Go do legs on Tuesday.
How about your one-on-one business? Is there any?
So I do none. I do zero one-on-one. Yeah, our coaches do, and it's decent. Pat does a bunch of one-on-one business. He probably spends, so he coaches 18 to 20 classes a week for me, and then he probably does 18.
So he's busting his ass.
He's grinding and he loves it, and he does a lot of sports teams also. Like that's like his wheelhouse is he wants to be in the 14 to 18 young athlete teams where he felt he didn't get what he needed when he was that.
That's
And
cool.
like, and it took, he's been with me 3.5 years. Like, as Lou said earlier, we're super transparent. And I hope that when things aren't right for them, they know that they could come to me and they're not going to get fired and they're not going to get screamed at and nothing is set in stone and everything's fluid. I've had employees leave that I negotiated their new terms at their job for them. Like, and I believe that the trust there for Pat to be my head coach and then be like, hey man, like I think we're off course to what I want my career to be, and then be able to work through that together as like an employer and employee, like that's huge trust.
It is. So
right?
is it his responsibility to bring those teams in?
So yeah, he'll run it either on site or off site. I do most of the hunting.
So you get the business.
Yeah, I do most of the hunting. I mean, it's what I'm good at.
Right.
Like, Pat likes whatever.
But so I get that. I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I do, but
It was quite deliberate that you interrupted.
It's all right. Don't worry about
I
it.
definitely meant to interrupt you. But so Pat would be like, Vince, I want to work with teams. And you were like, okay, well, here's the pricing structure. You're going to get X%, I'm going to get Y%, and I will bring the business, you service the business.
Yep. And the deal's different if he brings it or I bring it.
Of course.
So like, I'm all about paying. So you can't trade someone who generates revenue, right? So like, an employee, no one's perfect, right? So all I do is navigate personalities all day, clients, employees, whatever. But an employee who's say 70% perfect, but helps generate 25 or 30% of your business, he's irreplaceable.
Right, gotcha.
Right, like, so like you can't trade someone who generates revenue if they're always a black line in your business.
Trading for somebody else.
Ever, right? So like when I was on Wall Street, I was a financial advisor. So when layoffs came, we didn't care, recession, non-recession, because we were black lines in the balance sheet.
Right, you guys
We
always
always
make
generate money. As like a sales trader or a guy who works at a desk in a bank, you're just a red line on the balance sheet. So like someone who as Lou, who runs all my media and coaches for me, right? When I know my incoming inquiries are now coming from, hey, we watch you and love what you're doing on your social and all that stuff. Oh, we've been following you for 6 months. I know he's generating revenue for me.
Right.
So he goes from being a guy sitting at a desk to being a guy who's directly resulting in new business. So like, if all my coaches generate some revenue also, like that's a win. It just helps me. So, you know, I incentivize, I'm super aggressive in incentivizing that.
So when you roll out the Body Blueprint as a franchise itself, is it going to be exactly as it is in your place right now, or is it going to be sans the CrossFit model, or is the CrossFit model going to be replaced with a fitness model that is CrossFit but not affiliated?
Great question. So it's actually going to be sans CrossFit. You're talking 2,500 to 3,000 square foot facility, easily repeatable, that build and boost, and potentially the boxing. There's
The skill comes in.
yeah, and like the equipment gets dicey then, and how you hang it from the ceiling. So really, ideally, it'll be rolling out the build and boost programming in 3,000 square foot facilities, in shopping centers. You don't have to worry about dropping. You don't have to worry about and roll it out that way.
So does the OPEX fit into that or not?
No, so that's a completely separate thing, right? So we're rolling out OPEX because Dylan is super passionate about individual design. I also believe in where we are as a business, there's a part of the market that we're missing, and that's just the guy who doesn't want to take class. He might not have time, he doesn't want to be in a group setting, and he's willing to pay a premium to have a personal coach and personal assessment and come in and work out whenever he wants.
Right. Okay.
So really, you come to my business, you could do whatever you want. You could hit any kind of fitness you want. And for me, I really make less as a business owner in each individual business, but at the end of the day, the volume's there. And that's the theory.
But you're missing something so important.
What's that?
Active. Let's be real.
I agree.
Look, you can,
Right?
look, it's the truth, right? I mean, it's shameless. But here's the thing, right? Like, I mean, I talked to somebody yesterday, and this guy, it was a cold call. I'm like, hey, I've seen you comment on our Instagram and all this. You're involved in what we do. Have you thought about taking our immersion course? And he was like, I have. Right now, I don't have the money. Like, I'm saving up. I want to save up for it and do it. I said, that's awesome. I appreciate that thought, that hustle, and the fact that it's in your plans. The problem is, if it makes you more money, waiting and saving for it is actually costing you money. And he's like, I don't understand what you mean. He's like, I'm maxed out on my credit cards. Like, I literally don't have the money. I've actually gotten into arguments with my wife. We're struggling a little bit because of the finances of our life. The gym I own is struggling. I'm having a hard time getting members to really join or to stay or do anything. And he's like, I just don't understand how I could possibly do something that cost me $2,500. I was like, listen, that's because you don't understand the value of it, right? Because if I gave you a house, and I said, here's a house, you never have to pay rent again, it's paid in full, you can't sell it, but you can live in this dream home for as long as you want for $2,500. You just have to find the money in the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
Could you find $2,500? And he's like, yeah, I guess I could. And I was like, do you believe that I could help your gym, that I could help you at least get to your break-even point, that you're at least, if you pay me $2,500, going to make it back? It's like, yeah, totally. Like, great. You have 2 hours. Find it.
Yeah, that's an awesome sales tip.
But it's not. It's not.
But it is the truth, right?
It's the truth. Like, if he wasn't in the market for it, I wouldn't have sold it to him.
Yeah.
But he bought it last night, right? The reason why I say that you're missing the most important thing is because fitness, everything in there right now, fitness. What about the people who have abandoned fitness because every time they do it, they feel an ache, a pain, this chronic thing that they've been dealing with, like you, and they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna take up swimming or go to the rec or dancing, or they fool themselves into believing that like going for a walk eventually is going to satisfy the same need.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, hey, we're the only gym that can get you out of pain without going to the doctor and missing the gym.
So now, who do you recommend, right, from a product or brand standpoint? What type of person takes your course?
The coach who has a passion for helping people on a deeper level than abs and biceps.
Got it.
So what I mean by that is, like, I have absolutely zero interest in getting somebody six-pack anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not interested at all. I had someone message me the other day. She was like, hey, I have huge goals. I'm 100 pounds overweight. I don't know where to start. And maybe these goals are too ambitious and I'm not going to be able to hit them. I'm being unrealistic, but I want boom, 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 boom. Can you guys help me? And I wrote back, I'm like, you are being unrealistic, and that's exactly how you need to be, because you've been realistic your entire life, and that's how you got to 100 pounds overweight. That being said, I'm the wrong person to help you with it. It's not what I do anymore. Give me 3 hours and I'll find you the perfect person to do it. Yeah. And I found her the perfect person to do that, because I'm like, it's not where I want to be. Yeah. What I want to do as a coach, well, now as a business owner, is mentor people on how to do what I used to love doing for clients, which is, you feel like you're a waste case, like, why me? I want to turn your mind around, show you that you can get better at this, and then introduce you to fitness the way it's supposed to be done. So a coach who wants that.
So now a person does your course, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever, we'll say Lou does your course. Mm-hmm. then as far as like being intertwined into a business model, does that become a premium? Does it become part of the membership? How do you then price that out?
So it depends on how you want to monetize it, right?
Okay.
So what I should have said earlier is the coach who is frustrated that their members are not advancing.
Yeah.
That is the coach who should be signing up. But Lou has been modified the same way for 3 years. He came to the gym, he rode every time that we ran because it hurt his knee, and he never squats past parallel, and I haven't been able to change that, and it's frustrating me. If it's not frustrating you, not the course for you. If it is frustrating you, course for you. The way that it monetizes itself is multiple ways. Number one, members aren't leaving your gym, right? Because now all of a sudden you're the place where they're not getting hurt. They came in, they couldn't do something, you were like, let me show you how we can, where every other fitness modality has hurt them. That's one. Second way is my background is in one-on-one personal training and chiropractic, right? So I learned early how to prospect and find people who actually need help. So what we do at gyms, like the gym we were just at, they didn't run quite the way that you do, but we doubled their revenue since July. And they've been open for 8 years. So it was, how do we double their revenue? Well, a coach needs to work the room and not be paid for it. John, you're struggling to squat? Does that bother you? Yes. Let me do a really quick movement assessment on you. It's gonna take us 7 seconds. Awesome, this is a problem. Here's how we're gonna solve it right now in class, differently than you ever had before. After class, I'd love to talk to you about getting on the schedule for a movement assessment with me that is full on. And if we find anything we can work on, I wanna write programming and I wanna coach you through it for an additional charge. Are you open to that? Yes. Right.
And vitamins and the opposite of a hospital or a doctor. But I said that in a lot of these guys who I went to before, I find that there's a weird like crossover between fixing people and paying rent. And you find so many people who are like, oh, come to me for like 32 sessions and I'll fix you. And when we were talking about my knees earlier, I went to every like chiropractor and ART guy and all these different things. And I'm like, no, it shouldn't actually take me 30 sessions for a chiropractor to fix my knees that has nothing to do with my bones.
Well, here's the problem, right? Have you ever been to a chiropractor who did not adjust you at all?
Now we're gonna see if it cracks. We're gonna see if it cracks today.
Have I ever been to a chiropractor who's never adjusted me?
Who was like, you know what? You don't need adjustments. You need something else.
I saw a woman. She wasn't practicing chiropractic, so I think this disqualifies the answer you're looking for, right? I've never been to a practicing chiropractor who didn't do it, but I saw a woman who was a chiropractor originally, and then she just became like a movement person. And she had me do like 3 sessions of some movement stuff, and the pain in my hip flexor went away, and she's like, cool, don't ever call me again.
Right. So have you ever been to a physical therapist who didn't give exercise?
Never.
An acupuncturist who didn't use needles?
Never.
You follow where I'm going?
Yeah, of course.
So what happens is you go to these places and it's not that they're not being selfish and they're not doing anything that's unethical in my opinion. What they are doing is assuming that they can fit a square peg in every shaped hole. Right? Like I adjust and that can fix every problem. Yeah. I do exercises, and that can fix every problem. I do acupuncture, and that can fix every problem. So that's why everyone who goes in there ends up needing it forever because it might or might not work. So,
as I expanded out my location and the different offerings within the property, within the parking lot, right? Let's call it. I entertained 3 or 4 physical therapists, 3 or 4 movement guys that would come in and then have their own business, right? So it's something that I'm very cognizant of that I need. I need that fourth leg to the chair, so to speak, right? From what you have, obviously I'm a huge supporter of it, and I've like now talked about it every chance I could get that my knees don't hurt anymore, right? But would it behoove me to one of, say, the 26-year-olds who's a physical therapist, wants to specialize in athletes, who's discussing with me potentially working in-house, for them to do the course and then be another tool in their belt? Or is it better to have a coach do it?
Good question. That depends on the ego of the physical therapist.
Okay.
And I say that because what we do is not physical therapy. It's not chiropractic. It's not even a medical service. And right, but so someone who has a medical degree can look at it and be like, there's no way that this is going to do the job that I could do. And I would say that's true. We couldn't do the job that you could do for the person who really needs you. The problem is too many people are walking into your office who don't fucking need you, and your job is not effective for them. So if the physical therapist who you're thinking about doing this with is like, yeah, I get that. Like someone who wants to squat 300 pounds or squat clean all the time or whatever, I don't have the tools to help in my clinic, then yeah, that guy's right. If he doesn't, then what happens is it's somebody more like Lou or like Pat, and they're learning how to do it, and then they're saying, okay, this is the person who actually does need the physical therapist. This education doesn't replace that, but this person I can help, they don't need physical therapy.
Now, someone who does,
The immersion course. That's what it's called, correct?
Yeah.
Does he end up becoming someone like what Ray is, or is that way different? And I'm just trying understanding.
Ray's a
little more.
physical therapist.
He's a physical therapist.
So the big difference is there are things that are in Ray's scope to work with us that would be out of Lou's scope, for example, to not. Just because we can't, you can't explain 4 years of medical school in 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But 75 to 80% of it falls within. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
The thing about professional schools is there's a massive amount of diminishing returns. But you have to know that stuff, because if someone with the diminished return needs walks into your office and you can't solve it, you're screwed.
So I'm not sure if this will probably make sense after I say it, but I don't really kind of like doing anything half-assed. So as we discuss like an immersion course, in my mind, I automatically think, all right, cool. So if we're gonna do an immersion course for someone in my building, how can I then maximize and control, not necessarily control, but feed off a market that might not necessarily be able to be serviced otherwise, right? So like,
Meaning if you didn't have that person in your gym, you couldn't get the people who need that person.
correct. But I'm thinking outside my walls also, right? So like, I'm in Westchester County. I'm just gonna make up for an example that there's no people who are active, what's it called? Active life immersion, whatever, right? So then, do I then have the ability, right? And I'll use myself. I know I'm not intelligent enough to take your course and then have someone who's a member at a competing gym or at any gym come to my facility to see me for active life recovery. I'm just saying, from my knowledge, what you just said about Ray, he has,
right now you're saying.
I'm saying right now, and I'm not going to med school and I don't really want to learn all that stuff. So then I automatically, my mind automatically thinks to, okay, so then who's a person who I know can check those boxes, either work out a deal to sponsor, co-sponsor, half sponsor, whatever, the immersion course, and then be like
Awesome.
a spot in Westchester that's like, an active life certified thing isn't a location, right? But it's like, then people know that instead of doing remote with Ray, they could actually come see a person who's 5 minutes away.
Right. So there's levels to that, right? So the first level is, I don't know how you market, I don't know how you get members in the door, but your marketing would be, have you been hurt before? Are you frustrated? Do you find yourself injuring yourself every time you work out? Want a different experience? Here's how we do it, right? So the problem is they're afraid to exercise, and the solution is we have education that's gonna make it so that's not a problem for you. We're not looking to get you a six-pack, we're looking to get you
You want
fit.
me to hold it so you can finish?
We're looking to get you fit without, right?
Yep.
And you can do that one-on-one, or you can do that in groups. So we have like CrossFit South Brooklyn, for example, has a program where they run an active life class, and it sells out every time they run it, and their members pay an additional $160 per month to come to 2 classes a week. And one of their coaches runs it, and they pack the class, and they run it every 8 weeks. Other gyms have a coach on staff who basically is writing you accessory programs before your class starts, or after your class starts, and then when you walk into the gym and the gym is squatting, you're doing step-ups instead of squatting that day.
Yeah.
And you understand your change, and you pay an additional fee to the coach for that. So there's all kinds of ways that people are monetizing it.
Yeah. And for me, just from what I've done with you guys and Ray, I've started doing on the classes I coach when we're squatting and someone's really in pain or I've taken little tiny tidbits of the programming and I'm like, oh, we're gonna do like super light tempo box squats today or step ups or whatever. So my assumption is that then becomes way more in depth and ingrained and kind of rolled out in a much bigger fashion. Yeah.
It's easy to pitch something that works. I'm not trying to get you to buy a a jumpsuit.
You couldn't even get him to buy a bun.
Right. And I'm buying it.
Yeah. And he's paying.
So, I've become from a product
You driving,
standpoint-
or can you?
No, I'm good. I can
You
double
good?
down.
Okay.
I've been a huge component, and I was the biggest skeptic. I got off the phone with you, and I was so tight. I'm like, this fucking dude just banged me, right? I could be honest now because it worked, right? And like, even Pat made a joke about it. He's like, oh, he got you, huh? He fucking got you. And I'm like, you know what? Like, my knees just hurt all the time, bro. It can't actually be worse. And then when I was like super pissed that Ray was in Vegas because I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. So when I look at my program at 5, I know he's deep sleep.
Right.
So if I had questions, I'm like, I guess I'm just gonna wing it when I work out at 7, right? Obviously, we worked through that little tiny bump in the road. It was almost nothing, but I'm like, is this actually gonna work? I'm like, I'm squatting all the time. How can this be more beneficial than not squatting, right? And tempo lunges, for anyone who's never done them, is literally the most miserable activity in the world for 3 minutes of under load.
Mentally, physically.
It was horrible. But then all of a sudden, I started noticing in my responses to Ray that like there was the word, like I wasn't writing the word pain anywhere.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I couldn't remember the last time I was in pain. And I'm like, oh, this motherfucker, right? Like, this is fucking, it worked. So now I'm one of your biggest supporters, even to my own clients. I'm like, you got to call this guy because like, it worked for me. And it's going to cost you money and you have to buck up and do it. And maybe I didn't need a year. I probably could have got away with 6 months, but like when Ray called me and was like, well, what do you want to do next? Because you don't have any more knee pain. I'm like, I don't know, let's just start, let's keep building on what we're building.
Right. And we have clients who've been with us for 2-3 years who haven't had pain for 2 years. They're just like, look, I've never felt this good, and I kind of just want to have like someone to consult with whenever I want to. And they stay on to get 3 days of 15 minutes of.
Oh, I just got a nice cramp.
He's like thinking about paying for something that he's not really using. He's like, my body's allergic to that. But so they're like, they pay, they stay on monthly, and they get their 3 workouts per week that are 15 to 20 minutes long. That are movement and habit formation kind of stuff. And they're like, yeah, I just have the peace of mind of knowing that I still have access to somebody in 2 seconds if I ever get a flare up.
My workout's supposed to be 20 minutes.
Not now.
Thank God. I was about to say, because I would be definitely doing something wrong then. Yeah, I spend probably about like, and I dilly-dally because after doing, 16 step-ups, I need a rest. So, especially to get the quality, right? So,
Fun fact, he tries to get me to do those tempo lunge squats.
You tired?
No. I was like, sorry, bro, I'm super busy right now. I really can't.
So sore.
I really can't do that right now.
surprisingly, when I was doing walking lunges, it was one of the more fun Fridays. I would do like dumbbell walking lunges. It was super painful, like not knee pain, like output pain, but that was one of the more fun ones. And deadlifting on Tuesdays is good too. So like, yeah, I would say, as someone who looked to sub out the recovery portion of the business and not have to think about it and let someone then build their own business or whatever it is, having an immersion coach is definitely on my radar because I support the product. So.